Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have start our afternoon session. So if you weren't here in the morning, I am your MC, Neil Sahota. I'm one of the guys that co-created the AI for Good initiative and dubbed apparently the godfather of AI for good. But more importantly is actually our guest today. So Serge Conesa. He brings over 30 years of experience in data communications and the IT networking industry. His experience ranges from working in business, internationally expanding major telecommunications and civil infrastructure businesses, coordinating all the key elements of a new business, including time, money, resources, and technology through multiple geographies of cultures. But long story short, he's changing the game on, well, hardware and infrastructure, which we much needed. So let's give him a warm welcome as he shares his insights on the sustainable digital world.
Thank you. I'm starting?
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah.
Gosh. The counter is on. All right. So they told me that I said there is a visual costs 1,000 words. So let's start with the 1,000 word. Well, this is a brain. When you want to cool the brain that we have, okay, in our skull, it's a liquid. So it is a liquid story that I'm going to be about to talk to you about it. And of course, in this world, everybody is talking about energy consumption, and he's talking about the COBs, because since we have the COBs 21, 22, and so on, looking about, well, how can we solve the energy issue? Well, we just have to look back to the fundamentals. Meanings, this is what a data center is all about. When you see on your left, you have a big manufactory, the factory of the 21st century, where everyone today in the world is using an insulator. Your brain is not cooled by air, it's cooled by liquid. And why do you want to use an insulator in order to cool electronics? That's what we do. So we push air from the appliance to the racks, inside the hot aisle, cold aisle, in row, getting inside the rooms, making a huge volumes of air in order to solve the problems. And now we go even further. When you go to the Bitcoin mining, you take the device, you put a fan on the top, fan at the entrance, and fan outside. Because of course, everyone knows that when you have a car with 2 engines, you go twice faster. Makes no sense. Well, this is the same for electronics. And here, when you go to those Bitcoin mining farms on multi-megawatts, basically you're like in the turbine of an airplane. That's exactly the same thing. Well, we can do a lot better. Liquid-to-liquid exchange, collecting any kind of electronics on simple circuit of water to collect the calories from the electronics immersed into that liquid. Changing the games. Well, it's very easy to distribute any kind of solution in any kind of buildings, because for immersion for a building is 2.7 meters high instead of 7. And when you look at, when you want to distribute that energy called DUDE, distributed urban data center efficiency, and be able to integrate the data center within any urban environment, you're talking about sustainable data. Well, then sustainable data, let's be clear, smart city. I don't know a single smart city which is not smart energy. Do you know any of them? All right. Well, when cooling becomes energy, what is data? Data is energy. No matter where we want to turn it, okay? If I'm switching off here right now electricity, there's no AI. There is no AC. In fact, there's nothing. Electricity is up, everything is up. We can start to produce data. Now, how we are producing data, that is the point. Well, this is what a data center is all about. Let me show you here. You have a 3 megawatt data center on 2.7 square meters. Instead, you have a 7 square meters data center itself. This is the product range that we did. You can see that directly in our booth. Everything is embedded within intelligent rack management systems in order to manage the temperature. Because at the end of the day, a DTM system, what we put together to solve any kind of servers, 19-inch, 21-inch, 1U, 2U, 3U, 4Us, it's a router, it's a server, whatever it is, CPU, GPUs, we're talking about thermal regulation. It's a thermal management. That's what we do. When you know the MSS from Immersion 4, you know the entire product range. Well, how to install it? We're in a mountain. We are Swiss or French. We put the system on 2 ski in order to reduce the floor loading, 1 tons, and then we connect to the liquid with 4 dry disconnect. in order to be sure there is no liquid leakage. 220 volt, 16 amp, and that's it. And you scale them indefinitely. Well, what is even better is we can produce that locally, all around the world. So our strategy today is truly to build labs and production centers all around the world. So what do we need together? Did you guys have a good drink, some food? And you're still breathing, don't you? Well, electronic doesn't need air, because air, for electronics need to be protected against the air. And we are cooling electronic with the air. So in fact, to protect those electronics, you have all the conventional coating layers, all those chemicals, to protect against corrosion, oxidation, humidity, electrostatic, dust, and you have the brominated, the fire retardant right on the top. Because of course, electronics warm up when it is powered, creating e-waste when you want to recycle it. And that's the problems when you want to recycle. Because today, 1 container out of 3 leaving Europe is getting recycled in Africa, meaning it's put it on fire somewhere in Ghana, where 30 million kids and women are burning it. Don't worry, this is maybe far from us, but we are breathing it. Well, we have been awarded since 2018 from the, I would say, the invention booth to the ITU 7 SDGs, to the Saudi Sustainable, to the Solar Impulse, one of the 1,000 companies able to save the world. Let me tell you clearly, the world is fine. We're just not fine. And for Esther and for ITU in 2019 about the Best Use of ICT Global Excellence Award, and well, that's the reason why I'm here today. And in fact, one thing what's the most important, and thanks to Jennifer to keep that for us, it was sustainability. I said, this is for me the title I want to keep. I want us to remain the sustainability partner of the ITU, because sustainability is everything. And this is the reason why we went from AI for Good Gold Partner 2020, 2021 to Platinum Sponsor over AI for Good, where we are now. Well, simple. Immersion 4 is 4 pillars. No CO2, no greenhouse, no water consumption, ethics. Everyone is talking about ethics here. Ethics about AI. Let's talk about ethics about data, ethics about electronics. Ethics about electronics is what? Eco-conservation. The best energy you save is the one you don't use. Environmental conservation is preserving our environment. Ecology, well, this is where we are. This is biodiversity all around the earth, and we're just one species in the middle of this big biodiversity that we need. And economics. Data center economics is 10 to 15 years return on investment, 30% TCO for an air-cooled data center. With Immersion 4 is 1 year return on investment, and you're talking about up to 90% on TCOs. So the economics are right there. Well, I hear about COP26. Then we're going to be going to the COP28. We are COP XX since the beginning. By the way, the climate has no borders. And why are we talking about COPs? Why are we even talking about sustainable goals? That makes sense to be SDGs. Because otherwise, why are we doing here? So there is one planet. And let's keep air and water for the human and the biodiversity, and ice coolant for the electronics. And that's what Immersion 4 does. There we are.
All right, Serge. So I remember you in Budapest 2019, Innovation Factories. Lots of competition. You guys rose to the top. Rightfully so. What's changed since then, right? We're 4 years later.
Oh, so much. We went from a roadmap of over 70 products to a roadmap of 2 family of 3 products each. And I never did industrialization in my life. I learned what it is. And trying to simplify your device that you do. You know, I think is when you create something, you want to see all the features and everything. And at the end of the day, you realize that it's useless. Because at the end of the day, when you put server in it, the only thing you want to know is the temperature is correct, is stable or not. Who cares about anything else around? So we have to fight against ourselves. Be sure we are the most open, agnostic, any brands, any type of servers or anything, okay, disconnecting from this world, but still accepting the entire legacy to be able to welcome any servers of any size, of any destination within our system, and changing what the data center is all about. Because we realize you don't need raise floor, high ceiling, chemical fire suppressor, hot aisle, cold aisle. You don't need all of that because we don't circulate air. It can be 40 degrees in an immersion for data center. It works. And the products are fine because they swim at the right temperature within the liquid. So this is what happened. So we learn a lot.
Well, that's awesome because you hear about the green data centers. You hear about the big companies like Google and Amazon building data centers like under lakes, underground to try and cut on some of these costs. How's the traction been for immersion so far?
Well, I think we should leave the lakes and the mountain where they are. Okay, because the lakes and the mountain, okay, this is some things that we need. I don't think data centers need those. And well, we have been waiting for a very long time, and in fact, we are using ATU today to launch the company worldwide, and we are ready now to scale. Why? The reason why we did that, because we wanted to be sure that the product was simplified at most as we could, to be sure that the product was answering the need, okay, most of them, as we know it today, for many servers of any kind, and in complete preservation of the environment. So basically, we are completely recyclable, and we are 100% biodegradable in our liquid. So we fit every single, and in this system, the proof is in the pudding. Are we going to be selling, or are we not going to be selling? Now we even push that to say, well, let's change the business model. Let's lease. And why do we want to lease? Because if you like our product, you're going to keep it. If you don't like it, you're going to return it. And if you keep it, and maybe later on down the road, you want to change for it, we're going to take it back. So we avoid the decommissioning of the data centers anymore. So we avoid the waste. And we keep, and we know that based on the design of our system, we're still okay for the next 15 years to welcome any kind of electronics inside.
That's a huge, powerful value proposition. Did you have a question?
Yeah, questions a bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, how do you face stiff competition from like data center type giants like Vertiv or Schneider Electric, or is that a different kind of products that they would?
So let me repeat the question so we get it recorded and people can hear. The question is, do you face stiff competition from like the giant data center companies?
In fact, they are not our competition. They are our customers. And they should be. They don't know it yet. And we have the arrogance to say, well, we want to sell to them. But there is different ways to go to the GAFA as we speak. If you go to what you call the public-private cloud, I've said private cloud and hybrid cloud, okay, you can provide your solution to them. When you go to an Amazon or when you go to a Microsoft, they build everything at the component level. So the only way we can work with them is through a model that we have created called I4IBM, Immersion for Industrial Business Model, where we are offering them to do labs and production centers working together in order to make it happen. Then in that case, the margin is not an issue. You want to make one? We are making one. You want to make 100? We're going to make 100. It's a 50-50. If you eat, I eat. It's a very well-known way to do business, especially in the Arabic world.
I'm gonna ask the tough question, Serge. All right, we all know that network infrastructure, very important to do any of this work, but it's not the sexy stuff. How did you get into this?
Oh, network infrastructure. Well, I think, I'm sorry, I'm 60. So I'm part of the guys who created the problems, basically way before the welding. And then at the time, okay, we were wearing and turning, I was at the connection on the back of the connectors in order to put it. And at that time, it was so nice to see all these electronics connecting together and providing all the forces. We're talking about 40 years ago, 42, and more than that. I'm sorry, son. I know I'm an old father. And what was nice to see is the growth of this. By 2016, we see, I would say, the explosion of Skype, of Facebook, of all of that. Wow, social media, interconnect together, sharing and having all this content. The world changed drastically, I would say, by 2015, okay, and beyond. So what changed is also the manufacturing, the new factory that we are living now, called data centers. At the beginning, we were talking about, well, what is a data room? A data room was kilowatts, and the biggest one were megawatts. Now today, there is nothing we are talking about less than 50 megawatts. It's crazy. By the way, all our data are going to survive to us. We are not going to be surviving. We're not going to not live any longer than our data. So what do you prefer? Spending your life on the phone? I'm sorry, I'm not saying that for you. Or having a life?
Yeah, that's an eye-opening statement that our data is going to survive longer than we will. But I know we're a little running short on time here. if people are interested in learning more about immersion, what's going on, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on my booth, just right nearby. Okay, we are all willing to answer any question you may have. And I want to make this AI, but not AI because I'm very bad on AI, but the for good part. That's what Immersion 4 is all about.
Well, I encourage you to check out their booth. It's right next to the robotics stage. They have some very interesting setup there to see some of their work. But Serge, thank you so much for creating a sustainable digital world for us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's give them a warm thank you.